served on a lot of ships, but nothing like this. The contours are all off. It's not built for organics.
Shouldn't be too much farther to the main battery. I'm surprised they'd send you on this mission, Tally.
Why? If I die, all they've lost is an exile.
And when we succeed, you'll have the leverage to get your exile overturned.
Here's hoping.
Message. A planetary defense cannon just took down Admiral Chorus's ship.
Survivors?
They got to escape pods, and I've got Admiral Ron trying to establish a secure link.
Put her through.
Shepard, this is Ron. The heavy fleet is collapsing. I don't know how much longer we can hold out.
We'll have the Reaper signal deactivated shortly, Admiral.
Hey guys, this is Danny Boy. Wanted to get all of that talking out of the way. So we are still in the Geth Dreadnought. We are in the Room of Death with a big blue pew-pew laser of doom. And again, this was rather annoying without having charge, but not too bad. And before I forget, and I forgot to talk about this in my previous video, but I ranted about the Resurgence DLC in one of my last episodes, and I still think it sucks. I still think it's rather unfortunate that it worked out the way it did. Because even now, I was under the impression that once they release the reinforcement packs, they will also give you a guaranteed chance of getting weapons, and from what I have read, that's not the case. Reinforcement packs have a guaranteed chance of giving you Resurgence classes, but not weapons. The weapons, you just have a random chance to find them in the regular item packs. And that sucks. I don't know why they chose to do that. It's going to... Well, I know exactly why they chose to do it, because it'll make a lot of players just buy an obscene number of item packs so they can get the new DLC weapons, and it'll make them a lot of money.
Up above, too.
The only reason this thing is free at all is because a lot of people complained about how Mass Effect 2 shipped with a lot of free DLC. I think Zaid was free, and the Eviscerator was a free DLC weapon, among other things. Whereas this one shipped with From Ashes, which was not free unless you bought the Digital Deluxe or the Plex Edition. Which they wanted to create this idea that they were giving away free stuff, but it's not free. I mean, unless you're really lucky and you have a lot of time on your hands to get a lot of credits, it's not free at all. So, and you know, I understand to an extent why some of the new skills added in the multiplayer through Resurgence, you know, the new classes, they got ballistic blades and blade armor and Geth turret, biotic sphere I think is one, and some of those really wouldn't work well in the single player and would be really overpowered. Geth turret and biotic sphere especially, those are really designed for group play, and just insane shield regeneration in the single player is entirely unnecessary. It would make it even easier than it already is. So I can understand why neither of those abilities are really going to be given to the single player, at least for now. I mean, maybe someday, maybe when there's a lot harder content, but for now, perhaps they should just keep them out and not trivialize the single player, the insanity single player even more than it already is. I do really wish I could try out Hunter mode, though. Hunter mode sounds really fun. Maybe someday. Maybe someday they'll release a Geth party member with Hunter mode and something else. I don't know. All I know is that ballistic blades would have been perfect for my playstyle, and I really regret not being able to use that in the single player. It's an ability that does more damage the closer you are to a target, and that just sounds awesome. It has a bleed effect, it shoots out blades, and it's all gory like the Brawl Spike Thrower. That's a shame. Maybe there'll eventually be a Batarian party member too. One can dream, yes? But this area really isn't that hard. You know, you just take cover. Kinda sucks that the beam can hit you even when you're behind tall cover. If you're not actually taking cover behind it and just standing behind it, the beams can still hit you, so that's annoying. The biggest thing to worry about here is just getting flanked by the hunters, preventing that from happening if at all possible. But all told, not too big of a deal. At least this time around. Something else I have been pondering lately is just, and I mentioned this before, I think, really early in this series, but just talking about the Vanguard, how I didn't feel it was high risk, high reward anymore. It was just kind of no risk, all reward these days. And that is especially true as time goes on. Charge is no longer a risk as time goes on. You can charge into a group of 6 guys and come out fine. You might just need a little bit of party member backup, but there's very little risk involved as time goes on, so that's unfortunate. Thinking about that, I was starting to wonder, you know, what is the most powerful class in this game? And what is the most powerful weapon combination in this game? Or not weapon combination, but just power combination. I don't want to get into the most powerful weapons. I mean, I think that's... everybody has their own opinions about that. And it's not super clear-cut. Personally, I think the most powerful weapon in the game, in terms of just all-around usefulness, is probably the saber. Then again, you get the saber really, really late, so it's not as if you're going to have a chance to use it much in the single player, at least in your first playthrough. And by the second playthrough, you're a god anyway, so it's not as if it matters. It's a fairly moot point there. But personally, I would say it's probably the saber. But, might be wrong. I'm sure everyone has their own opinion about that. And there are so many weapons to think about. Maybe I'll talk about that more later, but for now, I'd like to talk about the different powers in the game. What is the most powerful class, and then power combination in the game? And the only one that I can think of, at least, well, I can think of several, but in terms of the best, I can't really think of anything better than just a Vanguard with Charge and Nova. Charge spec'd into the 100% barriers. Nova spec'd into, well, really doesn't matter so much for Nova. Personally, I like to go with the 50% effectiveness, but you can use it twice and it only takes away half your shield sort of thing for greater survivability, and just... you can use it twice to knock enemies down twice, and just greater control and all that stuff. But as far as bonus skill goes, I would say it has to be Stasis. I really can't think of anything more powerful than Stasis all the way around. I have to say Stasis is one of the most overpowered skills in the game, and I have said it many times before. But Charge plus Stasis plus Nova, I just don't think there's anything that can come close to that, because, especially in a power build with 200% bonus power cooldown, Kerjigger, and just being able to use Charge at will, essentially. Just use a Stasis to lock down a hard target, charge on them, that sets up a biotic detonation. Follow that through with 1 or 2 Novas, and then just by then you'll easily be able to charge again. I mean, what comes anywhere near that? Couple that with Sarah's Council for bonus power damage, or Rosenkov for cooldown reduction. I'd have to say that that's probably the most powerful character you can come across. Even early on in the game. I mean, if you just use a bonus power right at the beginning of the game, even in the early levels, you don't have to be level 30 in order for that to be powerful. Just hitting to level 10 would make that very, very strong, I would think. But the only thing that I can think that comes close to that would be just... I mean, infiltrators are really strong. Cloak, using the evolution that allows you to use a power before breaking Cloak, so you can get 2 powers off when cloaked. You could Cloak, use an Incinerate to set up a tech detonation, and it'll also do bonus damage because you're cloaked, and then immediately follow that with a Carnage. And again, you know, spec for cooldown reduction, and use Rosenkov so you can get powers off. So that'll use a tech detonation. It'll do a lot of damage because you're using it from Cloak. And then you could even follow that up with sticky grenades, or have a target sabotage and have them sabotage so that they explode. That evolution that does a ton of damage when enemies are killed. I mean, this is assuming they're synthetic, so it'd be even more powerful against synthetics. But even against something like a turret, take out its shield, then cloak, close in, use an incinerate on its armor, then use it follow through with the carnage, have it hacked, have it explode, it'll kill everything around it from the tech detonation and the explosion. Then by then you could easily cloak again. I mean, I would think that would also be very, very powerful. So I would think those would be the top two. And then third would probably be the Adept with just stasis, using warp bombs and what have you. Though I have heard that the Engineer with the turret spec for flamethrower is really, really powerful. I never really used that in my Engineer playthrough. I just stuck with rockets. Maybe one of these days I should experiment with that, but what are your thoughts on this? What do you guys think is the most powerful class in the game, the most powerful combo of powers? You know, I know Cryoblast and Incinerate's really powerful for tech detonations on the Engineer, but I don't really see it being more powerful than just Stasis and Warp, myself. Stasis is more versatile than Cryoblast, at least, because you can use it on anybody all the time, no matter if they're at red bar or not. They also don't fall over as readily as Cryoblasted opponents do. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. We could have a discussion about it if you'd like. But I stand by Vanguard Stasis Nova with 200% cooldown. That just seems ridiculous. I think we're about to have some plot, though. So, thanks guys for watching. Stay tuned for more, and have a good one.
Shepard! Grab my hand! Hang on.
I'm all right.
Good. Hopefully we're done with elevators. And come on. The drive core shouldn't be far.